There's a phrase I hear all the time from people who overconsume and undermove. Nobody makes it out alive. Or what's the point in living if you can't enjoy life? And on the surface, that sounds reasonable, wise almost, until you've spent years working in the ER like me. Because here's what people don't understand. Modern medicine has gotten incredibly good at keeping people alive. It has not gotten very good at keeping people healthy. So what usually happens isn't some sort of dramatic early death. What happens is something far quieter and far worse. People live a long time in a very broken, unhealthy state. I'm talking about men and women who aren't that old, sometimes 60s, sometimes even 50s, who can't walk across a room without getting winded, who fall because they're weak, not because they're unlucky, and who come in over and over again for things that are completely predictable and sadly were very preventable. Falls, infections, heart failure flares, uncontrolled diabetes, medication complications, COPD exacerbations, diabetic foot ulcers, not freak accidents, lifestyle debt finally collecting interest. And when I say burden, let's be honest about what that actually looks like, because this is not abstract and it's not theoretical. When I say burden, I mean a spouse who hasn't slept through the night in years because their partner needs help getting up to pee. It's adult children rearranging work schedules to take a parent to appointments. It's families arguing not because they don't love each other, but because everyone is exhausted. I have watched grown men in the ER hallways crying because they are trying to care for a parent who is still alive, but no longer independent and not really living. That's the part no one plans for, and it's also the part that doesn't get mentioned in the media. People think the alternative to health obsession is freedom, but the opposite of discipline isn't freedom, it's dependence. And here's something that nobody's saying. Most of these situations didn't come from bad luck or bad genetics. They came from decades of small, ignored decisions. Too little movement, too much food, too much sitting, too much comfort, too much, I'll deal with it later. We treat health like it's optional because death feels far away. But disability usually shows up much earlier than death. Most people don't wake up at 75 suddenly frail and dependent. They build that outcome very slowly, starting in their 30s and 40s and 50s. Loss of muscle, loss of balance, loss of cardiovascular capacity, loss of resilience. And here's a stat that should bother you. After age 30, adults lose 3 to 8% of muscle mass per decade if they don't actively train against it. After 60, that accelerates even faster. And muscle isn't about looking good at that point. It's about glucose control and fall prevention and immune function and independence. And here's another one for you. Falls are one of the leading causes of injury-related death and disability in older adults. Not cancer, not heart attacks, falls. And falls don't come from bad footing usually. They come from weakness, poor balance, and inactivity. This is why I push back so hard when people say, I'm only hurting myself, because that's almost never true. If you're unhealthy, you don't just pay the price. The people around you do. And the cruel irony is that thanks to modern medicine, you may not die early. You may live a very long time in a body that can't support itself. That is not longevity. That's survival at someone else's expense. So let me reframe this real quick. Longevity has become a term that people associate with squeezing out as many years of life as possible, which is really why I don't like this term. What we need people to focus on is health span, being healthy and capable for the years you are actually alive. It's about preserving capacity. Can you get up off the floor on your own? Can you carry groceries without help? Can you walk a mile without stopping? Recover from illness and stress? Live without someone managing your life for you? Those things matter more than your lifespan number. If you won't train, eat better, move, and take care of yourself for you, do it for the people who love you. Do it for your kids so they don't have to lift you off the toilet or change your diapers. Do it for your spouse so that they're not a full-time caregiver of you. Do it so your family members remember you as being strong and capable, not as fragile and weak and dependent. But there is good news. This version of longevity isn't complicated. It's not expensive, and it doesn't require biohacking yourself until you're crazy. It's built on a few simple pillars. First, maintain muscle. Lift weights 2 to 3 times per week, not to look jacked like a bodybuilder, but to stay useful and strong. Second, keep moving. I say it at the end of every single video. Keep moving every day. Walk, carry things, get out of breath. Sedentary bodies age way faster. Third, protect your cardiovascular fitness. If you can't get your heart rate up and recover appropriately, then you are fragile. Even if you look healthy, VO2 max matters for health span and longevity. So, once or twice a week, get your heart rate up pretty high, maintain it for a while, and then recover. You will adapt over time. Fourth, eat like someone who wants to function long term. Eat enough protein, usually around 0.7 grams per pound of body weight. Less processed junk food. Stop eating like consequences don't exist, because they do. I promise the things you do now will come back later in life to collect debt. Fifth, recover on purpose. Sleep, sunlight, relationships, stress management. These aren't luxuries for the modern world. They are insurance to ensure that you live a longer, healthier life. And none of this is extreme. What is extreme is living in a body that can't support life without help. That's what babies do. Longevity isn't about avoiding death. It's about avoiding dependence. And the earlier you start, the lighter the load is on everyone else.